The M23 crisis, war, power, and the battle for eastern Congo. The Democratic Republic of the Congo is once again at the center of a humanitarian crisis. The M23 rebel group has captured Goma, a key city in the east, escalating tensions and forcing thousands to flee. But who are the M23 rebels, and what is fueling this conflict? In this documentary, we take an in-depth look at the origins of M23, the accusations surrounding its resurgence, and the broader implications for peace in the region. What is the current situation in Goma and the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo? M23 rebels have launched a fresh offensive, capturing Goma and displacing thousands of civilians. The Congolese army struggles to contain them, while neighboring countries watch the conflict unfold with growing concern. How did we get here? To understand, we must look at the origins of M23. How did the M23 rebel group form, and what has been its trajectory over time? The M23 movement was formed in 2012 by former members of the CNDP, a Tutsi-led militia. They claimed that the Congolese government failed to honor a peace agreement signed on March 23, 2009, hence their name. Initially, they were defeated by the Congolese army and UN forces in 2013, but the group has re-emerged, more powerful than before. What elements have enabled M23 to regain strength and influence in recent years? M23's resurgence is linked to several key factors: alleged foreign support, weaknesses in the Congolese army, and the strategic control of resource-rich areas. Their tactics and weaponry suggest external backing, a claim that has sparked regional tensions. Who is accused of supporting M23? And what evidence exists regarding this support? The United Nations and the Congolese government have accused Rwanda of backing M23 by providing weapons and military training. Rwanda denies these allegations, insisting that it is not involved.
We have 100,000 people originating from this community, 100,000 who have been living here in Rwanda in refugee camps for the last 2 decades. Why? Because they are being uprooted from their ancestral homes, persecuted, and sent across. In fact, there are more in Uganda. There are 300, there's 100,000 here, there are hundreds of thousands there in Uganda, more numbers. So M23 is born out of that situation. That's why I asked the question. I said, well, why wouldn't anybody else, why are we being accused as Rwanda of supporting M23? And I'm saying even those who accuse us, actually I should accuse them of not supporting M23 because it is as if they agree with the injustice that is being done to this community.
Meanwhile, Rwanda accuses the DRC of collaborating with the FDLR, a Hutu rebel group linked to the 1994 Rwandan genocide.
On record and with the facts, DRC is supporting FDLR, and unfortunately, with the knowledge of MONUSC, the UN force on the ground, and actually that's how it happened that they were sharing our territory when it happened.
What are the main claims and counterclaims between the DRC, M23, and neighboring countries? On one hand, Kinshasa insists that Rwanda is destabilizing the DRC by supporting M23.
City of Goma, an area plagued by violence and instability for many years. The primary threat in this area comes from the rebel group that is alleged to be armed, supported, trained and accompanied by the Rwandan Defense Force. SAMI DRC conducted its mandated tasks and, in the process, faced intermittent bombardment from M23 throughout the year 2024.
On the other, Kigali claims that the DRC harbors genocidal forces. The result is a complex web of accusations that has made peace negotiations increasingly difficult. How has the conflict affected civilians in Goma and the eastern DRC? The human cost of this war is staggering. Hundreds of thousands have fled their homes. Many are living in makeshift camps without food, water, or medical care. Reports of massacres, sexual violence, and recruitment of child soldiers paint a grim picture of life in the conflict zones. How have neighboring countries and the international community responded to the crisis? Regional leaders have called for a ceasefire and direct negotiations, but with little success. The United Nations has condemned the violence, while peacekeeping missions struggle to maintain order.
The humanitarian situation in and around Goma is extremely worrying, with new threshold of violence and suffering reached today as active zones of combat have spread to all quarters of the city, all the neighborhoods of the city. Civilians are taking the brunt of the escalating hostilities. This morning, heavy artillery fire was directed at the city center. For example, several shells struck the Charité Maternity Hospital in central Goma, killing and injuring civilians, including newborn and pregnant women. The scenes reported by our colleagues on the ground are chaotic. Hundreds of thousands of people are attempting to flee the violence, but they have no choices. They have to flee the violence.
Despite international pressure, M23 continues to advance. What historical factors have contributed to the ongoing instability in the DRC? The DRC has endured decades of instability, from colonial exploitation to post-independence power struggles. The First and Second Congo Wars, often called Africa's World War, set the stage for today's conflict, with ethnic divisions and competition over resources fueling endless cycles of violence. How do natural resources and economic interests play a role in the conflict? The DRC is rich in minerals like gold, coltan, and cobalt, resources vital to global industries. Armed groups, including M23, seek to control these lucrative resources, fueling the war economy. Some analysts argue that foreign companies and regional players have a vested interest in the ongoing instability. What are the potential pathways to resolving the conflict and achieving lasting peace in the region? Experts suggest that a sustainable peace process must include dialogue between all stakeholders, accountability for war crimes, and economic reforms to reduce the appeal of armed groups. However, with deep-seated mistrust and ongoing violence, achieving lasting peace remains a challenge. What are the key takeaways from the current situation, and what steps can be taken moving forward? The crisis in the DRC is a reminder of how history, politics, and economics intersect in violent ways. While M23's resurgence has shocked the region, it is only a symptom of deeper, unresolved tensions. The world watches as another chapter of conflict unfolds, hoping for a solution that has eluded the region for far too long. Will peace ever return to Eastern Congo? That remains an open question. But for now, millions continue to suffer, waiting for a future free from war. This has been an in-depth report on the M23 crisis. Thank you for watching.
Freedom Square.